Hey you. Yeah, take a look at the screen for me for a second. Do you have any idea what's going on? If you're like me, you may be a little intimidated by what you see here, but trust me, it is not as bad as it looks. On the screen before you is an exciting hyper-speedy 2D platformer where you play as a cute alien escaping Area 51. Use your PVC pipe to bounce off of walls, floors, and ceilings to get to the exit as quickly as possible, all while eating piping hot pizza slices on your way. At least, that's what their Steam page says, and I'd agree. It is exciting. You begin the game being greeted by adorable artwork introducing our titular character, Zleepi. Zleepi's a captured alien from the planet Xeon, but doesn't bother leaving because why would she? I'd hold too if I had endless food and a comfy room. Unfortunately for her, on Jova Sol, the 5th of Aquarius, stellar year 2013, a UFO from her home planet appeared to be threatening Earth. That's a big problem if she wants to continue her cozy lifestyle. So, she began her great escape to intervene, along with the help of her favorite pizza guy, Mr. Isekai, because he can't save the day on an empty stomach. Yeah, that's his name. I don't know if his character will be explained further. And so, Zleepi's off on her glorious journey to stop her fellow aliens from destroying Earth, with her trusty PVC pipe in hand to guide her way. Wait, where are you going? It looks like, oh god, I went backwards. The sleeper. That's funny. I love her pizza pie nightlight, it's so cute. Ignoring that slip up, Zleepi's main form of travel is bonking the ground to propel herself forward. You need to be holding the opposite direction when bonking to head where you want to go, which is a little confusing at first, but I got the hang of it quickly enough. The fuck? Oh shit! There are also neutral or down bonks that maintain your momentum, and heavy bonks that send you flying further. Ah, he's done again. Oh, no, wait, no. I thought I was gonna go back and say hi to the pizza man again. The other mechanics include a stomp that'll plummet you down fast, and a Superbonk, which I'll get into later. The tutorial does a good job of guiding you for every jump, sometimes teaching you that less is more, and that not inputting a direction midair actually takes you farther. And as a mechanic I love because to me, it turns the whole experience into a kind of rhythm game almost. Well, maybe not exactly, but you gotta give it a try to see what I mean. When playing, I wasn't too focused on moving Zleepi herself like you would a traditional platformer, making inputs at every moment to control where she is, but rather I mainly focused on directing her jumps, concentrating on the moments where she makes contact with the surface and looking ahead to spot her landing points. Imagine if instead of running and jumping, you're more like throwing and catapulting her across the stage a bunch of times in a row. What this means is that a good chunk of the game, I'm not actually holding anything, and I get to enjoy the breakneck speeds they advertise about, as it looks like I'm doing something super complicated, when in actuality I'm pressing 3 buttons to launch myself into the abyss saying, "Fuck it, we ball." And it is awesome. The majority of gameplay is essentially pressing a button and waiting to time the next input. This develops into a sort of rhythm I told you about, especially when you're doing the same jumps on a route you practiced over and over before, like in a speedrun, but I'm getting ahead of myself. For the average person, this is an interesting precision platformer with satisfying movement, a cute aesthetic, and a banging soundtrack. It's the vibe of the game, and I honestly felt like the music saved me a few times from the mind-numbing repetition I willingly put myself through attempting certain jumps. Aside from getting used to the movement and just beelining towards the finish line, it's quite rewarding to explore a level and see what new heights you can reach, or find hidden treasures stashed away that were previously just out of reach when you were still inexperienced. Sometimes you can even get lucky and discover a terminal at the end of your leap of faith. There are these terminals scattered all over, from the ones in the hub containing lore, and the occasional helpful tips you'll find mid-level. There are also a couple that are hidden in every stage that range from jokes to more lore, or even a dog photo. Who's a good boy? Who's a boy? Other things to keep in mind are the 3 coins for every stage, acting as the secrets you can collect, and your hotness level once you finish reaching the pizza, ranging from hot to warm, lukewarm, cool, and finally cold. There's actually a secret 6th level, burning, but you won't have to worry about that until you're adept at pogoing around at the speed of sound. Every stage has their own times listed for each hotness level, and each hotness level corresponds to an amount of Zleepi points ascending from 1 to 5, and assigned from coldest to hottest respectively. What are Zleepi points? Well, as far as I know, their only purpose for now is to unlock corridors to more levels and occasionally lore terminals. Editor here. Oh, wait, that's still me. They tell you in the tutorial that it's for breaking out of Area 51. I just forgot because I'm an idiot. Okay, back to the video. They may have more use in the future, same with the pizzas, since talking to Mr. Isekai confirms that the devs plan to set up a shop somewhere down the line where you can redeem certain rewards for your troubles. That covers pretty much everything you'll get out of a typical run-through, so now I'll be talking about my experience. Like I mentioned before, I came into this game fully expecting not to move like they do in the trailers. But as time went on, and I started enjoying myself more and more, I soon found that I wanted to see all this game has to offer. And that lets me need to unlock this door right behind Mr. Momentum Freak here. And the only way to do that is to improve my times and score myself more Zleepi points. Doing that requires quicker acceleration, faster speeds, tighter turns. I needed something to push me past the casual I thought I was to the moving freak I wanted to become. To save the earth, of course, and eat pizzas. Definitely wasn't an unhealthy obsession in lowering times at the cost of sleep or anything like that. Number go down. Hey, stop filming, stop filming! The Superbonk is a stronger variation to the normal bonk, and offers much greater speeds and a bit more height. It is achieved by bonking after falling a certain distance and reaching speeds fast enough to change your trail color from green to orange. Or... and this is where the speedrunning comes into play. You can actually perform super bonks on command by bonking shortly after landing post-stomp. So, instead of waiting to fall from high up, you can do a single bonk, then a stomp, and then a bonk again in your desired direction. That specific 3-button sequence is just for super bonking from a standstill. All that matters is you bonk post-stomp. So, you can be flying through the air as normal, and whenever you feel like it, hit stomp to ground yourself, and bonk once you land. There's a generous window to input the super bonk when landing, so you don't need to be frame perfect. Just prepared. Simple enough, right? You can super bonk off walls. Same inputs as usual, stomp and bonk, but be careful because depending on the surface's angle, you might not hit anything and experience your heart sink as you watch Zleepi do the same and dive straight down. Because there are 3, technically 4, types of bonks you can do, those being light, heavy, and down, that means there are an equal amount of super bonk variations that all go their own set height and distance. For example, a light down bonk and a heavy down bonk reach 2 specific heights, but when you do a super light down bonk, it actually goes a little higher than the regular heavy down bonk. I've yet to find a situation where I'd need a super light pogo over a normal heavy pogo, other than preference, but maybe in future levels. Also, for the sake of simplifying, I'll refer to down bonks as pogos. Easier for me to say and matches the visual well enough. So, now that I covered super bonks and what they're capable of, where does that leave us exactly? Well, now we go wild. Basically, I bash my head into the wall a bunch of times until I get hot pizza. But for real though, it's a lot of fun just bouncing around and hitting the right jumps when you figure out all the tools you're given, occasionally finding skips on purpose or on accident. Once I've done that enough times, the moment to see what lies beyond that door finally came. And it was another door. Wait, EX level? Holy shit. Honestly, doing this level was a ton of fun because it was set up in a way that follows a designated path, and so all you needed to do was be able to hit the right buttons at the right time. You didn't need to discover a route, you just had to refine it. It felt like watching those don't move levels on Happy Wheels, except you're very clearly doing all the moving. I guess it was just the way everything looked so smooth and satisfying that made me think of it. It forced me to actually use light bonks and pogos mindfully in order to progress, and it felt good to see how far I'd come since starting out. Anyways, near the end of the level, it actually teaches you about the Superbonk officially, which I found funny because practically every mechanic I discovered on my own before they told me properly. But it was reassuring to know it was all intended. And so, once it was all said and done, I had finally completed every stage with the highest hotness level. I wonder if I could... There's something I want to check with that. Can I... Oh! No, wait. Yeah, see, you could do that. Oh man! So here's the thing. I'm not a speedrunner. I don't think I can be dedicated enough to learn the ins and outs of a game and do an entire playthrough. But it is an incredible feeling to look at something and wonder, would this work? And then proceed to try every combination possible to find out yes, it indeed works. It's ironic that I decided to try routing the extra level in the game, considering you'd assume it would be one of the more difficult ones, and while, yeah, it was, I am a stubborn motherfucker and you cannot tell me no when I'm locked in. My curiosity needs to be sated. And so I carried on bashing my head into the wall until I found the right combo and timings for each input. I gave myself markers to keep track of, like eyeing this specific mark in the wall as my sign to Superbonk, and immediately glanced ahead to spot my next jump, and so on and so forth. Rinse and repeat this process for each section of the level until you're satisfied, and then finally... Not bad. I've done it. I imagined the path in my head, followed through and got a faster time. Sure, there were a few hiccups, but it's still more or less what I had in mind, right? This is good. This is to be content. I can do it faster. I can do it faster. I got one more in me. I got one more in me. So yeah, that sparked my obsession with challenging my own time and cleaning up my runs. I should point out that this was all done without looking at any other guides or gameplay, partly because I don't think they exist yet, but it did allow me to focus entirely on my own creative process without comparing myself to others. I could brainstorm any route I want, no matter how ridiculous or silly, because there was no outside influence telling me it wasn't optimal and that there was already a better way. That's just my personal thoughts, and it may not matter for you, but it let me experience the game with renewed enjoyment, since every level I now viewed as a problem to solve and experiment on. It was like finding the answers to a puzzle you discovered for yourself that others might not have seen. Even when I thought I'd finished finding the best route I could, sometimes you stumble on something unexpected by chance, and now you're forced to give it an attempt. You just make me wonder if I can hit that though. Oh my god, wait, you can hit that. No, you can hit that. Oh, it feels faster, but it's so much harder to hit. Fuck. That means I gotta start going for it now. You're not actually Forrest, but how could I not explore its potential? Also, you may have noticed that I'm running levels besides the extra level. I was sure it would be a one-time thing, but I started getting curious and that led me to playing around, and once I figured out one, I wanted to do a few more. And you can see what I mean by this game making me into a speedrunner. Kind of. I find it really interesting, the process of exploring a map, breaking it down into sections, and seeing what works. I don't climb, but it's like problems in bouldering. Short sections have technically challenging movements, and after I figure out each part, I slap them all together into a route. I say it like it's simple, but I had to really lock in some parts individually before sending the full climb, because the last thing you want is to fuck up an easier sequence after finally nailing the difficult portion. I'm looking at you, 1-2. So, yeah, this game surprisingly scratched a ton of itches I didn't know I had in gaming, or just didn't entertain for a while. It's not like other precision platformers wouldn't be able to do the same thing, find paths and memorize button inputs to a rhythmic degree, but things just kinda clicked for me and fell into place, I guess, for this specifically. Maybe it was the momentum factor that I really enjoyed, and when you have a lot of fun, you don't mind doing some difficult stuff. Honestly, I could probably go on for a bit longer explaining the routes I found, since I'm kinda proud of what I accomplished, not gonna lie, but I sort of want you guys to try exploring it for yourselves like I did. Not unconsciously following a guide, but using that brain of yours and finding your own unique solutions. It'd be really cool to see what everyone comes up with, and then at the end, you can mash it all together to find the optimal route. Though, because I did really enjoy trying everything I could, and made quite the effort for a couple of these levels, I'll show them off for you real quick. So, if you're going to try the game, I propose maybe not watching this section. At least not until you've attempted it once. I only sped around the first 4 and then the extra level, so you won't get everything, but you'll quickly get the idea. 1-2 and extra took me a couple hours to bust out completely, while others took me 10 to 30 minutes. But anyways, here's the culmination of those combined trials. There we go. That's a good time. That's a solid time. There we go. Just like that. Sub 15. Crazy. Let's go! Sub 22. Nope, I just fucked that up. No way? Okay. Oh, and let's go! It's sub 27! So I knew it was possible. Hey, just look at that. New best. It's kind of wild to see them back to back like this. Now I really want to see someone do a complete speedrun. Well, that'll have to wait until it's finally released, huh? Oh yeah, I put in the title, but I haven't mentioned it until now. All this footage you see here is from the demo you can find on their Steam page. They have a Kickstarter up too, and if you enjoyed what you saw, want to play the full game, or support them even a little, I implore you to check out their site. They're entirely self-funded right now, so if you'd like to help speed up development, go give it a look. I put both links in the description down below, and they have less than 2 weeks to hit the goal, which is why I push myself to actually complete and post a video for once in a long while. Think of it as a testament to how nice the game was, since it made me go through all this trouble, both playing and content creating. The small indie team behind this, Team Purple, actually features a couple experienced modders if we're had time. I've yet to play the game myself, but I know it's another platformer I'm bound to enjoy, and so I plan to look up their mods in the future. I'd also like to check out some of the music the composers made in other projects. Pretty nice, my style. Well, that's all I have for you, I guess. A short story of how a cute, simple little game became my fixation for a few days. I love discovering games like this that might not get seen in the mainstream, but deserve their spotlight since there's an audience for every genre. So yeah, this is more in depth than I planned, but if you want to see me fool around in more games, or just use me as a tool to find more games, give me a follow and whatnot. You know the deal, I won't give you annoying spiel. I'm FTP, and that was your peek into Zleepi. And sincerely, check out their Kickstarter. See you in the next one. Bye!